Hello, my name is Mary Christine Ballestero, and I am with you today on Our Ventura TV, interviewing MB Hanrahan, a community artist here in Ventura. Welcome, MB.
Thank you. I feel very welcome.
And as a community artist, we'll be talking about how things have changed and how different they are. And as a community artist and an artist period, what do you think has been the biggest impact for you?
Okay, and I'm gonna just fill in the blanks. Is that when we're talking about the impact, we're talking about like kind of when the COVID-19 pandemic caused society to close down many things and then sort of open up some things. And the way it looked for this person here, and I'm just representing my point of view, was that I had the experience of more of a communal art studio, separate artist studios in one big building, closed down for a couple months, I think it was, relocate at home. I'm more of a large scale artist, although I make plenty of small things. And I tend to work on site. So the immediate changes for me was schools, for instance, as sites became more of a challenge. Then the schools were empty and closed. And so then that ironically almost opened them up again for a place to work, because schools do bring in people such as myself, muralists and such like that, not working with the students, unfortunately, but after a while, the studio opened up. But it was like during the period where I wasn't able to be in my studio was where my creative problem solving after the initial, just like many people, almost like a deer in the headlights reaction to like, what? Having the rug pulled out from underneath me of the way things were. I had to, how can I continue to do what I do? Well, yes, I can paint small paintings at my home and utilize social media to let people know I'm still alive, I'm still making things. Excellent, right? That's great. I could think about, I do mail art as in M-A-I-L art, art through the mail, and that's, the mail's still going, and I do a series of holiday cards. At the time, I don't even know if the printer, the printer wasn't working that way, where I normally get postcards printed up. So then it was like, oh, okay, no, I can't send it through the mail right now. Oh yeah, I'll just do it all over the internet, which I've never done it like that way. Interesting, I just now remembered that. And yeah, although I have since printed them up through our printer, I have to say, since they opened up on limited hours, I was there. So that was an evolution. And I guess this is probably one of the more important things that I would share. And again, every artist is going to do their own thing. And I know not everybody's me and works on the streets, but I know there's plenty of people. I have seen many, many murals in this time and on social media and in my neighborhood in the last couple months, many. And so there is this opportunity, if you can, to work outside. And summertime's great. So I was invited by a client who very creatively had the idea of, instead of having the mural on the inside of the wall around her house, that she would do it on the outside of her wall so that her neighbors could enjoy it.
Was this the garden piece?
Yes, that was the first one. And so
let's see if we can see that while you're speaking about it.
Yeah, sure. And so exactly, perfect. Yeah, a wall facing the neighborhood, and I was able to create a garden on an otherwise pretty plain wall, and really pleased the client. And the client sees it, and neighbors saw it. And then from neighbors seeing it, someone else, approached her, who then, I was able to reach out to a family that wanted sunflowers on the outside of their fence. This was an example of another, yep, there we go. And the one with the dogs came from the same deal, where a man saw me working outside and said, oh, now I know what I want to do to this funky wall. and I've just been trying to decide what to do with. And I just felt like, in some ways that this really was a community effort from all of us, that it's not only put in a local artist to work, but it allowed them to give back to their community and enjoy their life and their walls.
Well, you did mention also the schools. So in a way, it's kind of worked to the advantage as far as that goes, because you can be on campus without disturbing the classes.
In the specific, like I think that you flashed quickly an example of at Miners Oaks Elementary, in Miners Oaks, California. I specifically asked the PTA and the principals, this is really interesting, and I applaud you, and I want to put my efforts to anyone who's forward-looking, who's wanting something for the future. And same thing, she's like, it's for the students when they come back, because they are going to come back. It is for our community, for some community pride, and for them to know the school is here, it is still functioning, albeit in evolving ways, and we're not going anywhere. And I thought that was great. So as much as like everything that comes out of an artist's mouth is going to sound self-serving, I really do believe that some of us, probably all of us really, have some way to help our community through our art. I mean, okay, so here's one of these electrical traffic control boxes that you see in many, many towns, and we here in Ventura, this is Midtown Ventura. Yeah, it was this particular side is showing medical workers, but all around the box are also grocery workers and janitorial and delivery, there we go, and food service and the US mail and pharmacists, and grocery stockers and people that make sanitizer and manufacturers, and then the artist that's then putting the vision all together. And it also represents the community that sponsored this box, because it was a Midtown neighborhood who came up with the idea, approached me, and raised the funding to have me out there.
How has the epidemic really changed your own thinking towards your art? I mean, I know it's changed a lot of the logistics of how you can get things done and who you can work with and where, but I mean, we see our little favorite trolls throughout your pieces, and he has his mask, but is there anything else that you think will really stick with you as far as in your own personal work?
Okay. In the face of having the rug pulled out from us, the familiar changed dramatically, an uncertain future, it makes me almost more literal, our literal mortality right in front of our face, how fragile life is, and how much we're interconnected, whether we want to be or not, whether we want to acknowledge or not. I would say that that's probably been the most jolting realization, that when I get complacent, when I get grumpy, when I get all kind of selfish and like complaining, which I have nothing to complain about today, if I feel put out a little bit, if I'm a little bit irritated that a project that I was, working, like I faced quite a bit in the earlier days, like in February and March, were projects that I was designing for were just like, we're not even talking about this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, later. And I was just like, that, the time is now. The time is now, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I think it's probably made me more, I don't want to say desperate, but more committed and more hungry and more like, let's get crack-a-lacking. And if if I'm not experiencing my community inviting me to do things, that I have to be the initiator, because boy, we never know, and change is the constant. So I get as complacent as the next guy and get lulled into familiarity and can't do it anymore. Nope.
So you definitely recommend then that as artists, we search for new ways to make sure that we get our voices out there.
Absolutely. And you know what? The other thing that has been happening in our society right now is many other things besides the pandemic. There are a lot of causes, and there's a lot of people that don't have the money that they used to have, and maybe organizations that are trying to get something done. And if you're already not really making that much money, I hate to say this, but if you're already not making that much money doing what you're doing, or you're collecting unemployment, look to see how you can help. Look to see how you can help there. I'm sure there's plenty of people that need a poster design, plenty of people that might need a banner made, plenty of people that could use some graphic arts help, plenty of people that could maybe need, use a new logo. We are in a period of change. There's so much going on. Opportunities abound. Opportunities abound for creative problem solving, and people need artists. And if you don't hear that art is essential, make it essential by what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, I think we're about out of time now, and I know this has been really good seeing you again.
Yes.
For our Ventura TV. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Christine.